The thing that I remind people, especially early stage businesses, is there's a shelf life.
Right.
People will give you the buy-in and say, you know what, I support you. I'm with you on everything that you're trying to do. But if you don't have a handle on it, over time, they're looking at you and seeing that you don't have a handle on it. And that ratchets it up the pressure because at some point they will come back and say, like, listen, you said this was going to take you 6 months. It's been a year.
Right.
Like, how long am I supposed to allow you to take things off of your to-do list and add it to my to-do list? So,
And the other thing, Sean,
uh,
is
mhm,
it took a year, but you telling me you said it was going to take 6 months, but there are no check-ins. So even if it's going to
that part.
take a year, how about you provide check-ins? But sometimes when the pressure is heavy, we avoid heavy conversations. We avoid difficult conversations. We fall back into, patterns that has been with us for years. For some people, when things get hard, what do? They avoid. So
Yeah.
as a founder, when you thought you were going to have an investor, that didn't happen. Okay. That happens. When you thought you were going to have retail space, that didn't happen. When you thought you were going to get a buy-in from your niche market, that didn't happen. When you thought you was going to be an influencer, and it didn't happen. Those things are okay. That is the natural
Mhm.
progression of business. Business is an evolution. You don't snap your finger and all of a sudden, I don't care what social media does. I don't care what LinkedIn does, Instagram does, TikTok. No, you don't go, hey, if you give somebody $47.99, all of a sudden, now you have this email list of 1 million people. No, it takes
Mhm.
time to get there. So with that being said, when those hurdles come up, check in with your partner, check in with your family, check in with your employees, check in with your board and your investors. Most people are understanding. If you said it was going to take 6 months as a founder, we like to, as the kids say, we like to juice. I mean, if you say it takes 6 months as a founder, it's really going to take about a year, right? That in layman's terms. So if you say it's going to take a year, it's going to take 16 months. So if you say it's going to take 6 months and it doesn't happen, that's okay. Just stay communicative and keep people involved, keep people aware, because as you just spoke about, the shelf life, that shelf life, it will expire. And when it expires, it's hard to get it back.
It can be. It can be. Let's unpack what you said a little bit more. It's not really about your character as much as it's about your system. So if your operating system isn't set up properly, then the issue isn't your character unless you just choose to avoid those conversations. So it's not about your character, it's about your operating system. And when you remove the shame from the conversation, then it's easier to have those conversations.
Yeah.
I think people avoid the conversation because there's a level of shame attached to it. And really, what you're doing is you're adding pressure, and what you're really supposed to be doing is conveying information. So, pressure is just information. And the question is, why do you feel that pressure? Is it something where you said you were going to do something and you weren't able to do it? If you do those check-ins, this is why I believe in in like milestones and checkpoints, because it there are a lot of people that say, well, this is what my end goal is going to be. That's great. Do you know how many things are going to come up along the way? Whenever someone puts together systems and plans and all the rest of that, it's building it on things going perfectly. The reality is things aren't going to go perfectly. So you have to have those check-ins. You have to have those things that allow you to be able to say, all right, I'm only going to go this far. And when I get to this point, then I'm going to stop. I'm going to reevaluate and I'm going to check in with all the people that matter to make sure that they understand what's going on and that I can make sure that I still have that buy-in. And that's how you can extend that shelf life. And that's where you can relieve some of the shame and some of the pressure that's attached to, I said I was going to do this by this time frame, but I'm not really going to be able to do that. People understand it when they can see and understand what it is that you're trying to get accomplished, and you're keeping them involved in the process. It empowers them to be able to say, okay, well, you set that as a goal, but like, is that realistic? Is that a realistic goal?
Right.
That's where you can get that perception that you may not get because you may be putting a lot of pressure on yourself to say, I got to make this happen. So situational awareness is something where like you look at your timeline, you look at the pressure that you have going on around you and internally, and you start to figure out how you can manage it. And you start to plan and map that stuff out. And as long as you have the sign off on all the people that are in your life and from yourself, where you know you're leaving room for not if, but when this doesn't go exactly the way that I planned, what's my plan for when it doesn't go the way I planned it? And as long as you have like that, then that gives you room to be able to relieve some of that pressure that you're talking about and build out an operating system that says, this is what's going to happen when things go well. And here's the wiggle room that I have when it doesn't.
You know that I mean, you touched on so many points right there. And the thing is, trying to escape pressure is like punching the wind. You ever done that before?
Mm.
I mean, I mean, punching the wind. I mean, it's
We all chuckle when we see someone do
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah, it's funny unless you're a boxer and you're training, but you get so mad at you. That's what fighting pressure is because it is escapable. But here's what I've learned, Sean, is that there are two types of behaviors. Two types of behaviors. There are behaviors that we intend, right? Those are our
Mm.
intentions. When things get tight, I intend to let people know that are close to me, my employees, my staff, my business partners, my investors, the bank, creditors, my spouse, my partner. I intend to keep them abreast with what's going on. Those are our intentions. However, the other behavior is when pressure spikes, those intentions go out the window.
Yeah.
So the reason for that is when pressure spikes, when things get tight, we don't rise to our intentions. We fall back to our defaults. We fall back to what the brain has already programmed. And because when pressure spikes, the brain doesn't have enough time to create this new code. And all of a sudden you execute. The brain, when pressure spikes, its job is to keep things efficient. So it's going to fall back to what's already been there. And a lot of times, many of us, if not all of us, our default system is decades old. I'm 43 years old.
Mm.
I've been running on before I started this work. And when I started this work and I started examining myself, I'm like, man, I've been running on a default system, an operating system from, since I was in middle school. Our cell phones, our cell phones go through updates at least every 6 weeks. There's a security patch. There's a new security patch every single month that comes out.
Right.
However, as human beings, we are running on decade old systems and defaults, and then we get upset when we keep going around the same circle expecting a different result. So a lot of times founders just throw mud at the wall and see what happens, and realize and not realizing it's it's them. I told a group of founders last week, I said, your business is nothing more than just a mirror of your internal system. If
Mm.
your business is chaotic, it's the founder. Everything trickles down. If the CEO of the organization, if things are all over the place, if the culture in the organization is when things get tight, we retreat, or when things get tight, we run around like a chicken without a head, just look up. Just look up and you see it. That's that leader's default system. And the other thing too, my default system or my pressure entry point could be my body absorbs the blow. It could be physical, but yours can be emotional, where you get your emotional landscape gets volatile and you get irritated, you get short, you get loud, you start yelling at people. If you're my leader, Sean, guess what's going to happen? I am going to experience your framework. I am going to be absorbed into your framework as your direct report. So when you get frantic, although my pressure entry point, it may not be emotional, guess what's going to trickle down to me?
Yeah.
And that's what happens. So as a default, not only do we have our own default, we don't share defaults, but other people experience our defaults.